Welcome to London Live. My name is Sasha. I work with MRMC, and I'm going to give you a demonstration and overview of Polymotion Chat Studio. Polymotion Chat Studio is our camera automation software. It allows you to automatically track your presenter on stage or in a studio and add subtle or fast camera motion automatically without you having to worry about the framing. And I'm going to show you how that operates, some of the features, and how it integrates with our MHC or multi-head controller software that we use to control robotic studio cameras. We support MRMC manufactured robots such as the AFC and also third-party PTZ heads by companies such as Panasonic, Sony, BirdDog, PTZ Optics, and many more. And also MRMC Studio Bots. I'm going to take you through the software, explain to you how the automation works and some of the capabilities, including its auto framing and limb detection capabilities and what that means for the production. The software is really useful in scenarios where you have news shows, weather shows, or any other chat show, for example. And I will show you how it works in a seated environment too, not just walking around like I'm doing now. I'm going to take you through the interface and give you an understanding of the signal paths involved and also the remote operations capability. All right, let's get started. Let's bring up the interface. So here we have MHC, which is our software for controlling the robotics. This allows you to add and control manually 12 cameras at one time. A number of them can be automated using Polymotion Chat Studio, and you can see them up above there. So manually, we can add up to 12, and up to 6, depending on the server configuration, can be tracking at any given time. So, as with any studio or with robotics, we can create and recall presets. Those are in banks along the side. We have 8 here that are visible, but we can also switch to further panes. So we have A, B, C, and D, allowing you to set up to 32 presets for each camera. This is particularly practical when you have a number of shows. Maybe you have a morning news show where you have a set of presets, then an afternoon talk show in the same studio. So this is really useful in that respect. You have full manual control over your lens, with focus and zoom, and velocity control as well as positional control. And you also can control the iris if that's supported on the lens. You also have manual control. There's a joystick in the bottom left-hand corner or right-hand corner of the screen. That allows you to use a touchscreen interface to reposition and frame up the shots that you would like. You can also use a control panel or even a joystick gamepad controller. And we manufacture a number of them, but we also support some third-party units. All right. You can switch easily between the cameras or even see a multi-view. So normally we start with this, see the views of each of the cameras that we have set up in the studio. Not all of them are necessarily focused on me right now, and not all of them are tracking. We have a static shot, and we have 2 that are tracking, so you can see that. And we can go through these and change some of the settings. So let's do that. Let's pick a camera, click through. So now we're in that view. And currently we're in a tracking mode called normal. So you can see the tracking modes right here. So here we have a half body shot, which allows us to frame the body based on the limb recognition data that we've got with the computer vision. As you can see, the system is drawing a skeletal model over me using the yellow dots and the black lines. This is the computer vision engine detecting me as a person rather than just my face or the outline of my shape, meaning it can track in all scenarios, even when my face isn't visible. For example, if I'm turning around to present something on the screen, it doesn't lose tracking. It still knows where I am, such as a weather girl and so on. So these scenarios are all catered for. Or maybe I'm sitting at a desk in an evening news show reading the headlines for tomorrow's papers, something which I've seen happen. The presenter covers his face with the newspaper. Tracking isn't lost because we still know where the person is. And these are some of the advantages of using a limb detection model rather than just facial recognition. And that's what really sets us apart and puts us above the competition. All right, so using that same information, we can do the automatic framing. We can detect where my upper body is and then create those half body shots. So when I come closer to the camera, it will maintain that and adjust the zoom automatically. So I'm going to come a bit closer, and it will zoom out. And if I move away, it will zoom in and try to maintain that focus. As you can see here, you can see that zoom slider moving down there. I can also lower the sensitivity if I notice that the camera is moving around a little bit too much. Sometimes the presenter is moving quite slowly, so you can lower that sensitivity. And you can see that in the bottom left-hand corner there. I can make it quite fast now. So it follows up with me. Or I can make it quite slow and steady depending on the speed of your presenter. And that really gives you the flexibility to create the type of movement that you want for your show, that you want for your news production, and to create the sense that you like to convey to the audience. All right. So we can also integrate very easily with on-screen graphics. As you can see here, we have an area of interest where the, you see this circle. So that's where the robot or the software will try to move the robot to and keep me in that shot. However, in this case right now, I have a screen to my right-hand side, or on screen left. And I'd like to have some space for that screen to show fully. So I can just reposition where the software should position me in the screen so that that screen, is visible. That allows you to put graphics there, a weather chart, a sports graphic, an analysis feed, whichever, and you can do that virtually. Polymotion Chat Studio also supports 3D data route, so that integrates very well with your graphics engines, and you can get the positional information from the robots to put AR graphics into the production. So, talking about your production workflow, it integrates really nicely with existing studio workflows and doesn't upset what you have in view already. All we require is an NDI feed, an RTSP feed, or a copy of your SDI feed out of your matrix or router into our software. We ingest this and generate the previews in our software, and also use that to create the limb recognition data, and then pass that information back to the robot over an IP connection to allow you to move the robots. And the entire system is IP-based, meaning that all the robotics are Ethernet controlled. The software talks to the server running on our hardware via IP, meaning you can actually set the system up for true remote production. The server can be on-site in your studio, whereas your operator can be situated remotely. The software and the AI do the hard lifting for you. They do the heavy work, the grunt work, keeping the presenter in frame. And your operator being remote, be that in a centralized control room or sometimes even from home. Certain situations currently necessitate that. And you can operate this from anywhere in the world as long as you have access to that IP address, allowing you to have that flexibility and still maintaining production quality. You can also have a server client or with multiple users set up, meaning that the same cameras can be accessed by multiple users across the network, allowing other people to take care of 4 robots while somebody else is looking at other 3 that are connected to the same system, giving you that flexibility to change the system as you see fit and whatever suits your need in the studio. It is really designed for that professional broadcaster who who's running a studio. All right. Here we see us going through another preset creation process, again with capturing the previews and setting the tracking mode. There you go, that's configured. So you can do all of this on the fly while the system is still operating. Again, making the shot that you require available at a moment's notice. And the robots continue to track whether you're on them or not. All right, so we had the tracking sensitivity. We've looked at the multi-view. You have a emergency stop option if you wanted to stop all. That's right there. Safety is really, really key whenever something is moving on its own. So that does work. And as you can see on the top left-hand side there, or right-hand side, there is the stop button. Cool. Now, we've talked about automation. We've talked about limb recognition. And we have talked a little bit about manual control. Polymotion Chat Studio really gives you flexibility in all aspects. And we have some of the settings here. Every operator has a preference to how far they want their system, how fast they would like their system to operate. And these settings can all be changed. So we have here the preference pane, Within this, you can adjust the speed of each axis for manual control so that it really feels natural to each operator if they're using a joystick panel or touchscreen or even presets on how fast that motion happens. And this can be saved from user to user, and you can even set limits on, so that the pan action or tilt action doesn't break your studio boundaries. And this is really, really important so that you maintain the shot and have security and confidence in the shot that you're using. We have advanced controls over lenses, so you can use, Fuji or Canon lenses. We have full lens control. You can use box cameras or system cameras with MRMC robotics. You can use, as I said earlier, third-party PTZ cameras, which we also have set up here. And very importantly, you can use a studio robotics. And we're camera agnostic. So as I said earlier, as long as we have a copy of your video feed over NDI, RTSP, or SDI, we can ingest that into our system and work with your existing workflow. Great. Now I've been standing a lot. However, the system also functions really well when you have a chat show and some of your staff are seated. This is basically so that if somebody isn't necessarily media trained, they can still be kept in shot, and you don't have to worry about are they sitting in frame, because the software will take care of this issue for you. If they're on the sofa and they want to get comfortable, the software will reposition the camera to ensure that they're in shot. So as I sit down, I'm sitting on the sofa, I'm really comfortable, nice and wide shot. I'm still being recognized even though I'm not standing, so I don't necessarily, I'm still being recognized. As you can see here, the computer vision engine still picks me up. We can come in on a tight shot. If I'm not media trained, you don't have to worry. I'll reposition myself, the camera knows where I'm going, and catches up, and there I am. So your talent, it can be comfortable, like I am right now. Polymotion Chat Studio takes care of the heavy lifting, and you get the shot that you want. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.